Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. So in this video we're going to be looking at the new Super Pockets. Obviously we've got the DJI Super Pocket and the NeoGeo Super Pocket. But in this video we're going to be looking at the NeoGeo Super Pocket. Let's get started. Okay guys, so let's have a look at the NeoGeo Super Pocket. This is the standard edition. There is a special edition of this as well. It comes, I think it's red and white. So this is the black and gold standard version, which I think is actually much more striking colours to me. So we've got 14 arcade classics. And there's a few sort of pictures on the side. This is actually number 5 in the Super Pocket range. Amazingly, there are probably going to be a lot more of these, I would have thought. But there's a lot of cool games on this. This might just be my favourite looking Super Pocket yet. I think it looks fantastic. It is very simplistic, but it really is quite a striking colour. And obviously this is a fully licensed product, and you can also play your Evercade cartridges as well. Expand your game library if you're interested. 600 and plus Evercade games. Visit the website here. And now there's some information here about the Super Pockets if you're not aware. You get a 2.8 inch high quality IPS screen, 4+ hours play. I'm pretty sure you can get about 6 to 8 hours on some of these as well. USB-C charging, so just standard there. Rechargeable battery. Evercade cart compatible. There is a cart in the back of this, but it is completely blank. There's nothing actually on it. It's just a bit of plastic, like a sort of dust cover. And there's some all the games listed at the top here. We've got Alpha Mission 2, Blazing Star, Fatal Fury Special, King of the Monsters 2, Last Resort, Metal Slug X, Mutation Nation, Overtop, Samurai Showdown 2, Sengoku 3, Shock Troopers Second Squad, Soccer Brawl, The Last Blade, and Top Hunter, Roddy and Cathy. So quite a good selection of games there, which look really interesting. So without further ado, let's get this unboxed and let's play some of the games, and I'll give you my thoughts on what this is actually like. Inside the box there really is just the Super Pocket itself. There is a little charge cable at the bottom here, which is included in there. I'm pretty sure I've got tons of USB-C cables about, which I probably don't need another one, but anyway, that comes complete with your charge cable. Inside the box there is a quick start guide here, which if you want to go through it, just gives you some details about all the different functions that the Super Pocket has, and some details there. So it is pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure let's see, different languages. There's also a little poster of all the different Evercade cartridges that you can actually buy. It's broken down to blue home computer cartridges and purple arcade carts, and you've got the red console cartridges as well. So there's about 60 plus carts, 600 games, and it is continuing to grow. Let's have a look at the Super Pocket itself. I have to say this is definitely my favourite looking Super Pocket so far. It is quite simplistic, I guess, with the black and gold sort of look. You've got the sort of front facing speaker here that does have great sound. It's actually got better sound on these units than the Evercade EXP, which is pretty crazy considering this is a budget device that sells for $49.99. It is a great starting point if you're interested in Evercade stuff. You've got your start and select buttons at the front here, and your front facing buttons A, B, X and Y. This is your menu button here. We can access the options. You've got Evercade options to go to if you've got an Evercade cart as well. And it's got a reasonably good D-pad. Now I have been led to believe this D-pad has been changed somewhat. It's still clickable a little bit, but it does feel a little bit different, so I'm going to test that on some Evercade carts too, and hopefully we'll be able to reach some of those diagonals in some of the games, and hopefully it won't have any issues with that D-pad. Now it didn't have massive issues with the D-pad before, but there was a few games on Evercade carts that the sort of character motion stuck if you click down too hard on the D-pad, so we'll check that out in this video as well. There's a couple of sort of speakers I think on the side maybe, or vents. I'm not entirely sure what those are. There could be vents that are on the side. On the back, more vents as well. You've got your sort of shoulder buttons here, the obviously R2, R1, L1 and L2. Now thankfully I don't think a lot of the games on this NeoGeo collection uses a lot of these buttons, but if you're getting Evercade carts you might have to use these buttons. Can be a little bit of a stretch, so you may need to bear that in mind if you're purchasing some Evercade carts. This is the menu, this volume up and down button at the back, and I said this is just a bit of plastic. It's just a blank sort of dust protector for your Evercade slots there at the back. So without further ado, let's get this turned on and let's see what the games are like. So just thought I'd have a quick break from my recording here of the NeoGeo Super Pocket just to see this. It's insane. This is Florida weather for you. Yeah, pretty much normal. Okay, before we go on, we've got the on-off switch at the bottom here. You've got your headphone jack, a couple of various charging lights and sort of power indicator here, and you've got your USB charging at the bottom. So turn it on, you just slide the switch on to the left, and it will go through the jingle and the Blaze logo. We'll go through some of the menu settings before we jump into the games, and then have a look at some of the Evercade carts as well and make sure it's okay. I won't have the sound too loud for this video purposes, but the sound is excellent. Now you get that photosensitive warning as well at the start, just to be warned, anyone that's got that issue. There are a few games on here that have a lot of flashing lights, so keep that in mind if you're purchasing this collection. Now this just jumps straight to the NeoGeo screen, and you've got the option to look at all your games and play them all. But what we'll do is look at the menu and the settings. You've got the Evercade button here. If you've got an Evercade cart, we'll put that in and you'll get the option to look at the games that are on here. You've got your various settings for display. It is quite basic. Now if you're expecting something in depth, this is not what this is about. It's just a cheap budget starting point for Evercade, or even just like a collector piece. But there's some good stuff here the games wise. Let's have a look at the options. Just some scan lines options, basic sound options, language options, and legal support and credits and who actually worked on the sort of Super Pocket. Pretty basic, but to go back, you just go back to NeoGeo options and then we can jump through some of the games. So let's have a look at some of the games in action, and I'll look at some of the in-game menus as well to help. Let's just start one of the games. This is Alpha Mission 2. There's a various amount of games, from shooters, fighting games, and even some sports games as well. So there's a good selection of games. A lot of these aren't available on Evercade as yet. We still to get our first arcade cart, which I think is coming out in July. But there are a few exclusive games so far that are not going to be released in carts that I'm aware of. I'm sure it will happen at some point, right enough. But let's have a look at the in-game menu. If you press the menu button, you've got your options for your save slots. Obviously you can load, you get various control options. If you want to know what the controls are in the game, that detail is there. You've got the display it again, and you've got reset and quit. Reset basically resets the game, quit goes back to the main menu. And that's it. There's nothing really fancy about it. It's just very simple, very basic. You want to set a coin, press the select button. You want to start your game, press start. Pretty easy start, to be honest. I'll put the sound up slightly and I'll stop talking. I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised with the quality of all the games. I guess it's NeoGeo. The games are always high quality stuff. So let's have a look. I'm not going to play through all of the games in this video. I'm going to maybe do that in a separate video once I actually get home from holiday, but we'll have a look at some of the games and the highlights for me. There are 14 really decent games. I have played through all of them prior to sort of making this video, and I'm really impressed so far. This one's slightly different to the opening game that we played. This is obviously scrolling from left to right. This one's also extremely impressive, just like the other one that we just played. I think I might slightly prefer this one. It's maybe a slightly flashier. I'm not going to play through all the games on the video. I'll probably do that in a separate video, so this is kept quite short. We've got Fatal Fury Special, which is really cool, but very, very hard. Sadly, we don't have access to have easy mode, which you've seen in other Super Pockets. You have obviously the option to make it easier, obviously more accessible if the games are too hard. We get King of the Monsters 2, Last Resort, Metal Slug X, another excellent game, Mutation Nation, a great sort of beat 'em up, Over the Top, a sort of driving game, the excellent Samurai Showdown, which I really enjoy, Sengoku 3, Shock Trooper, Second Squad, Soccer Brawl, Last Blade, Top Hunter, Roddy and Cathy. So interesting selection of games, and some of them are really, really good and excellent stuff. But I'm not going to play through all of the games in this video. I have played them through offline, but I'll keep that separate, so we keep this video quite short. This is Metal Slug X, certainly one of those sort of favourites out there. Arguably, this is supposed to be one of the best Metal Slug games. Now, I'm not a Metal Slug expert, so I'm not entirely sure. They all seem pretty similar to me, but highly enjoyable game series to play through, and it seemed perfectly suited to this small screen. Now, obviously, the screen isn't ideal for every game or every sort of person. If you've got bad eyesight, it might not be the best. But I have to say, the games on this sort of specific Super Pocket all look fantastic. Sound great as well. Easy pick up and play games, which is what we love about these sort of Super Pockets. And if you really want to, you can obviously add more games to your collection via the Evercade cartridges. What a great fun game this is. Also the excellent Mutation Nation, which is a sort of scrolling beat 'em up or scrolling fighting game. Not really sure what the best terminology is, but this one is very, very good. This one almost seems like a cross between Streets of Rage 2 and Alien Storm or something like that. Not an awful lot of variety in the moves, but there's certainly a lot of variety in the characters, which is always quite pleasant when you're playing these type of games. Sometimes you come across the same enemy time and time again, but this one does seem a little bit more, or a little bit less repetitive than sort of other games in this genre. But great fun to play, and obviously great quality. Glad to see this game over top. I keep wanting to say over the top, but it's over top, which looks a little bit like a game on the Galco arcade collection on Evercade called World Rally. It sort of plays a little bit like that, but I think that's where I probably went wrong in trying to play this game the exact same way. It's definitely a little bit different. The same sort of idea, but I think you definitely need to have more emphasis on braking, whereas World Rally you kind of can easily just go around the corners without bothering about braking at all. But certainly a good looking game, but one that will take a little bit of sort of practice to get perfect. I'm probably the worst at playing games without, or driving games without actually using the braking button, which kind of goes against driving, I guess. But this is quite good fun once you get used to the controls. I really like this. I absolutely love this game. This is Samurai Showdown 2. Now, this was one of the games that will be on an Evercade cart. There are a few that will appear on Evercade cartridges, but there's a lot of games on here that won't, as far as we're aware at present. So I think it will certainly be one of those Super Pockets that even if you have all the Evercade sort of NeoGeo carts in the future, you probably might still want to buy this, given the fact that it is probably one of the best looking Super Pockets released yet. I definitely love my sort of games like this, that sort of weapons based sort of one-on-one fighting games. There is a lot of flashing lights in this game, so be aware if you're going to be playing this and obviously watching this video as well. Quite flashy, so to speak, but well, it is great fun though. I'm not showing my skills much here though. I'm getting my ass handed to me here. Now, as I said, I'm not going to be playing through every game, it's going to take too long. I will do this in a separate video at some point and sort of rank them as well. But I wanted to play this game because I found there was some slowdown playing this Shock Troopers 2, which is, yeah, it's not ideal. I'm not entirely sure if this was in the original game, so I'm not an expert, but I definitely experienced a little bit of slowdown in this game. I think when there's too many enemies on screen at one time, it definitely seems to slow down quite badly. Again, this might have been on the original sort of game, not entirely sure, but it definitely seemed a little bit slow on occasion. But still, it is quite a good fun game to play. I have no idea what's going on either, but it is quite cool. The character does seem to sort of move quite slowly, so maybe that doesn't actually help. Maybe there's no slowdown, or maybe it's just me. Yeah, there's definitely slowdown. I'm not imagining it. There's definitely slowdown there. Doesn't really stop it from being enjoyable though. It is still a lot of fun to play. There is a soccer game on here, but surprisingly it's not Super Sidekicks, but it's Soccer Brawl instead. Kind of plays a little bit like Super Sidekicks, except it's a little bit more, I don't know, it's got robots I guess. It just seems a little bit more arcadey than Super Sidekicks does, even though they're both arcade games. A little bit more fighting in this sort of game. It does seem a little bit more robotic. Seems more like a sort of Speedball 2 version of football, I think. Lots of brawling and sort of fighting type of thing. Certainly using the same sort of Super Sidekick sort of engine, I would have thought, but I don't know. It's alright. Oh, what's happened to me? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. A little bit maybe like Football Madness that we have on Evercade. But I would say this was certainly far better. Quite fast paced as well. I've no idea what's going on, to be honest. I think I'd rather play Super Sidekicks, but this is quite nice as well. It's still pretty decent. Roddy and Kathy. This is one that's definitely not on any Evercade collection yet, like quite a few of the games. So certainly it would be a must buy if you've not, if you're already on board with Evercade. It's a cutesy platformer almost. That adds a little bit of variety to this collection for sure. A little bit different. Very colourful graphics. It almost doesn't really feel like an arcade game, to be honest. It kind of feels more like playing some sort of Amiga game, in my opinion. Yeah, still very good, very cool. But what I think we'll do now, guys, have a look at some of the sort of Evercade cartridges just to test out this D-pad. But so far I think the D-pad's been really good. Sort of reaching those diagonals seems a little bit easier than before. Now, all you have to do is take out the blank cartridge and place in another Evercade cart if you have one, and then go to the menu button, choose the Evercade option, and your game or cartridge should appear with all the games on that. Now it is quite limited to what you can choose from here, but what I'm going to do is jump into this game, Reloaded, which I know had issues with this D-pad on other Super Pockets that we tested last month. Now there are a few other games that had issues with, but I've only got options to play this game at the moment. What I'm going to do is jump into the game and see if there's any issues. Now this is a really cool game and it does seem to work quite well on Super Pocket, and glad to say that the character motion does not stop. If you get a little bit frantic, the D-pad doesn't click in as much as it did, so the character motion is obviously, it keeps moving, it doesn't just stop and stall. So that would be bare nice for the other games like Yar's Revenge. I think there was the game that had issues. Maybe Chaos Engine was the other one, I can't really remember. So hopefully that has solved that problem. The D-pad certainly seems much improved over the other Super Pockets. So be nice, hopefully they'll fix those other Super Pockets at some point and sort of re-release them. Not entirely sure if that's in the plan, but for sure the D-pad is definitely better on this Super Pocket here. We're having a look now at Murtop, which is on Indie Heroes Collection 4, which is obviously in the back here. And this is a game that runs natively on the sort of Evercade and obviously the Super Pocket devices rather than being emulation. Sometimes there was issues in some of the older devices or the other Super Pockets. But glad to say this one plays absolutely fine. What a joy it is to play as well. If you're interested in buying Evercade Carts for your Super Pocket, have a look at evercade.co.uk. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in adding. I have looked at most of the carts on the Super Pockets. Obviously it is a personal choice at the end of the day what kind of games you want to play. Okay guys, so my final thoughts on the NeoGeo Super Pocket. I think it's excellent. It might just well be my most favourite Super Pocket they've released yet. Certainly the best looking Super Pocket. Has great sound. It's a great starting point. It's a great budget at £49.99. It really is a great sort of place to start. If you're interested in Evercade, obviously you don't have to, but it really is a great place to start. It's not perfect for every game, so bear that in mind. For the games that's on this handheld, it really is excellent. I've not had many issues. There are a few slowdowns in some of the games, but I think they were present in the original games. But the buttons are all great. None of the games on here use the shoulder buttons, which is obviously a great sort of great news. But the D-pad itself seems much improved, which is great. It seems to have solved the issues that we had with some games on Evercade Carts before, so that is great news. It does seem a little bit better and easier to reach those diagonals at least. Okay guys, so that's our look at the NeoGeo Super Pocket. This will release 10th of July. I think if you wanted the special edition, you're probably going to be too late. That was limited to a few thousand editions, I believe. They might still have some that they might release at later points, but the standard edition looks far better, in my opinion, and it plays fantastic. A great selection of games, 14 great Neo Geo games. Some of them are not all on the Evercade collection that will be released later this year, so it's certainly attractive to Evercade users, non-Evercade users, and I think this could well be the most popular sort of Super Pocket released yet. I think it's fantastic. Could be my most favourite. I think it's brilliant, and I've thoroughly enjoyed playing some of these games, and I'm really looking forward to getting more Neo Geo carts out in Evercade later in 2025. Anyway guys, thanks for watching our video, and we'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.